All right, motivators. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos like this, and I try to put content out just here and there. Um, but I feel like I needed to explain. I did a race yesterday, EmrgOrtho, the 5K. It was supporting Girls on the Run, and I thought, well, I want to, maybe I wanted to wear my camera, and I just kind of noticed that a lot of people were not wearing cameras. There were a lot more younger folks out there at the 5K, about 866, I think, in attendance at the run itself, and a whole lot more around the field and around the track. And anyways, out of respect for them, I didn't take a live video of the run itself, but there are some clips that my wife was able to get of me across the finish line and on at the finish line and around the 5K. Also, I was able to podium for a master's level, and so I got first in the master's age group. And so this was by far probably the fastest 5K I've done. It seems to match up pretty close to the Kevin Connors run and to the Frosty 5K for the most part, but I believe that this one was just a little bit more effort. And as far as speed wise, I was really close to the 18-minute mark, or closing out the 19-minute. I was at 19, I think, 08, which was really for me, for my age, it was pretty good. I felt like it was very good accomplishment. I believe it was 8th overall, getting first in the Masters age group, which was again good. Had no real complaints. There was a point where I was running, and I noticed I slowed down. I was actually fiddling with my watch, of all things, and I have to kind of learn not to do that. I was thinking, well, maybe if I knew how much longer I can go, because I think that was just really a bad decision on my part. But we live and learn on our runs, and anyways, I was pretty happy with the overall effort. I was pleased with the run itself, and it just was a good venue. Anyways, so some of the things that led up to this race, and I like to do races every once in a while just to measure. It seems like a good way of measuring. Are the efforts I'm making, are they making a difference? And I would say yes. I'm not doing as many intervals as I had been, usually about one a week. And those interval sessions are, usually a mile run, and then a half mile, and then, then the quarter mile is up to about 3 miles. And those quarter miles are pretty spicy. They get a little bit faster than the mile itself, and the reason is I'm trying to get comfortable with this faster speeds. Again, it's always kind of really self-measured, because I don't want to hurt myself in my running, and so far I've been fairly fortunate that I haven't done that. But those are I've been incorporating those. I've been also incorporating a lot of like 6 mile paces or 10K pace runs on my work days, and so I'll go to work a little bit early and run, and so that I have a 10K loop that I typically do. I allow myself to have about 160 beats per minute on those runs. Not every 10K run, of course, but I allow myself to get up that much, and so to kind of get out of that, getting out of more of a into the higher part of zone 3 probably. And so I do that just to get very comfortable with that pace. Usually that's about 6:30. So those I believe has been helpful as far as really kind of building building to be more comfortable in discomfort. And so a lot of times what we're trying to do is, our bodies can give out a whole lot more than what we in our minds might sometimes think. And so again, there's always a balance, because I've always got to be self-aware. Am I giving out too much? Am I doing something that might cause further problems or complications further down the road? But for the most part, you need to be maybe pushing that envelope a little bit and see what else we can do. And so there's a brand out there, Without Limits. And so sometimes the greatest limit that we have as people is in our own head. And so try not to limit ourselves in that way and say, well, I think this is all I can do. I don't know what I can do, but I know if I go out there consistently that I've surprised myself. Especially last year. Last year I went from pretty consistent, I was really pushing around 7:20 minute miles pace, and that was pretty good for me, with intervals and changing distances, zone 2s, and those type of playing around with the runs a little bit. I dropped. Right now the drops are more incremental. I thought it was from pretty good fitness level last year, and this year it just seems to have done even better. And so I would really focus in on finding a good running program that helps you. That seemed to help me. Changing my diet, eating more whole foods, very much helpful for me. Again, I tend to have some gallbladder issues, so my body tells me that wasn't a good idea. All right, well, I don't like feeling like garbage after eating garbage, and so I thought, well, I'll just change. And I know that sometimes my coworkers might make fun of me. You brought potatoes again, or you brought chicken again. Well, that's a surprise. Well, I know that those are proven entities. Rice, for the most part, the plain rice, it's going to work for me. All right, well, I'm going to keep on doing it, because I don't feel like garbage afterwards. I don't feel like I have to drag around, or find a bed to digest. So I'm going to keep on doing that. So again, training program, food, those are important. I found out how important they are. Rest, finding a good cycle of I'm going to go to bed at this time, I'm going to try to get up at this time. I'm not going to allow much to get in the way of that, as again, we do have to live, and there's other stressors in life. But don't allow videos such as this getting away from rest. There's always going to be videos. There's always going to be content out there. There's always going to be the next thing we could learn or listen to or be entertained by. All right, but anyways, those things seem to be working for me. Maintaining a good, healthy work-life balance. I'm still working on that, but I was pretty pleased with the results yesterday. I'm gonna post the pictures, and also going to post some times. I'm going to show you maybe hey, here's the 5K, the Frosty 5K time. here's where I ran yesterday. Well, to me, looking at that and knowing how I felt during those runs, improvement. And that's good. And recognizing that's what I felt like then, this is what I felt yesterday, wonder what will happen in the future. Well, consistency will tell. And so we keep on going out there, and like this year I've been saying, off and on, and it's been a little bit of a break, that we want to keep the change. Keep it and make it positive. All right. Well, I'll see you next time.